Chapter 1, Program Structure and Design.
It's a great program. It's great for kids and great for families. Learn about early childhood development. I think that is an area that we as administrators do not have training in for the most part. And so learn about what their needs are. It's going to look a whole lot different than your more traditional classroom setting.
The administrator really needs to be an advocate for their children. And they're willing to get the environment correct, the curriculum correct, the right teacher in place, the communication with those preschools around them that feed into their schools, because those preschools are the ones who can tell you who the children are, make that connection with the parents so it'll be very positive.
We worked with our teachers to develop curriculum. We didn't want to just have 2 years of kindergarten. We wanted our transitional kindergarten to be a standalone program where it was not 2 years of the same, but very much a different program for our students.
As we saw our implementation path, we started working with our Board of Trustees very early on in the process to make sure they had the information about the importance of preschool experiences and how they affect the future years in kindergarten and beyond. They were very supportive about the idea. So we embarked on a program to educate our community, our teachers, our administrators about the benefits of transitional kindergarten, and started working with community outreach programs and made a big effort to educate our community about the benefits of this program.
In Long Beach, we had already implemented a program, Preppy Kindergarten, and that was a unique program that served the needs of students whose parents thought they weren't quite ready for the kindergarten program. In anticipating transitional kindergarten being implemented in our district system-wide, we brought together a group of educators and administrators who represented teachers who had been teaching in Preppy Kindergarten, and we also brought in teachers who had been teaching preschool, elementary principals, and district administrators.
Professionally, the opportunity to write curriculum, to sit down and really look at where we're going as a nation with Common Core standards, and to consider what that means for this particular age level. So I think that the whole idea is wonderful.
We weren't sure how many classes we would have available, what the facilities needs would be. Do we have teachers? Do we have interest? What do we have?
As far as funding goes, we receive all the same funding as any kindergarten would receive.
The district really took a hard look and felt like they needed to support the sites. So they provided the initial funding through categorical funds for the furniture, for materials, for curriculum, and the staff development. So really the average daily attendance makes it a self-funded program. So there's no outlay or cost to the general fund.
We've been very successful in garnering some few extra dollars to build environments within our classroom that specialize in early learning, curriculum materials, and also professional development.
But for this age student, some of the pieces that we were putting in place were not things that teachers would typically own or be able to get. For instance, the science, we wanted them to have a low table that the students could be on either side of. They needed to be able to, hands-on, they needed to manipulate whatever was the science focus. We have a list of furniture that we need to provide to set up a room. We have a list of the instructional materials that go in the center, so we have a cost for that. So when the superintendent said, what does it cost to set up a transitional kindergarten classroom, I can tell him in our district it costs this amount of dollars. So we worked with various vendors, and we were very creative, I think, in our financing. We were able to combine some categorical funds, some lottery funds, some district funds, but not a lot because there just wasn't money to be had.
We went through an application process. We believe that finding the right teacher for our transitional kindergarten was very important. And so our teachers stepped up and interviewed if they wanted to be part of this program.
We've been fortunate to find really quality teachers that are willing not only to teach in the classroom, but spend time after, before, to help develop our program. We really need a pioneer group that wants to be on the journey together and develop this with us, because it's not going to be done by one person. It's a real team model.
And we have found that our teachers having kindergarten experience has been a real benefit because they know the kindergarten standards. They just had to learn the preschool foundations and the connection between the two.
Really look at the staff before you hire someone in that position. It has to be someone who's willing to make a change, to look at what's the best from preschool, what's the best from kinder, and how to put it together.
If you don't believe this is the right place for these children, then it's not the right place for you to be teaching. I know for me it was letting go of my control. And there's not a lot of control, especially at the beginning of the year. If these kids were going home happy, and I was ready to come the next day and do it again, that something right was happening. Over this afternoon, okay? I'll see you in the morning, Mr. Lucas.
We then began working with our site leaders to find out what facility needs we would need. What would be the perfect room for a Prep-K? What are the requirements, and did we have the facilities to meet those needs?
So our role here was really just to make sure that we had functional TK classrooms. But we felt we wanted to have rooms that had a bathroom inside, because these were our youngest students.
It's supposed to look different. It's not supposed to look like your average, first grade class or kindergarten class.
Some students would be at their seats, some students would be at centers, some students would be at my table. So we really didn't need all the desks and all the chairs that we had in kindergartens, because we didn't have as much direct instruction in their seats.
And I know for us, the feedback we got from our parents within the first few weeks of school was really helpful. Parents said, oh my gosh, my kid is so happy, he loves school. And it took us our last trimester when we assessed our kids to fully believe that what we were doing was really, really working.